Hi, it's a reflection show with me, Martha and Abila. Today we want to look at young people against drugs. Now, today our focus would be on the illegal drugs, we, cocaine, etc. Drugs that are not legalized in Ghana or maybe legalized for people to take. Even though for drugs for malaria, etc., people still abuse them, but we want to focus on the illegal drugs and how young people abuse these drugs. I'll be speaking with young people from Active Youth Global here in Tamale. Abdulaziz Mustafa and Rahma Isa will be helping us to do the discussion. So take your pens and papers and make sure that you stay on this channel because this episode is something that you need and encourage more young people to tune in. Let's go for a break. When we are back, we go straight into the discussion. Stay tuned. Welcome back from the break. So we go straight into the discussion. Why this campaign? Why is Active Youth Global taking up this campaign for youth against drugs?
Thank you so much, Martha and Abila. It's a great pleasure to be here. I think this is my second time. I really recommend this program, and yeah, thank you so much for the opportunity. But Youth Against Drugs, as the name suggests, is as young people standing up against drug abuse. And the first thing is that Activate Global, in particular, is just a youth led that is championed by young people, and the focus is to ensure that young people are given the needed skills and knowledge that they need to contribute to creating that inclusive and sustainable future we all envision for our country, Ghana. Um, you agree with me that currently there is a focus for everyone globally. Everyone is looking at working towards achieving sustainable development goals by 2030. Now, yeah, there are rumors that we may not be able to achieve it then, so I'm sure there'll be a more organized session to look at what the next target would be aside 2030. One of the key issues currently that everyone is championing, and especially in the northern region, is the SDG Goal 5, that is gender equality. And that has to do with rape, child marriages, teenage pregnancy, children's school dropouts, and the issues of reproductive health. Matter, but as young people, we have actually championed this too as Active Youth but we've had forums, we have engagement with young people. We've been doing it for years. Before we even started, people were doing. CSOs were doing, young people were doing. But we are not seeing that visible change that everyone is working. But
Yeah.
and then we keep taking money, That's the focus of the donors. So nobody wants to do anything that will not be a donor's focus because you won't get money for it. So if you want to do anything aside that, that'll be a sacrifice you take. You
Okay.
agree with me?
Okay.
Because you may not get the needed support for it, and that will be very difficult to implement.
Okay.
But we have realized that the issue of drugs is a very important thing because it has the chance of bringing us back, or it can be one of the underlying primary issues, okay, to why we are not achieving or seeing the visible results that we envision to achieve. Because, Martha, um, I take drug. I listen to you today. You talk about sexual and gender-based violence. You talk about rape. I still go to the house. When I'm normal, I won't do. When I'm on drug, I'm not myself. You become a totally different. So I do it without even realizing I did it.
Mm, mm,
After that, I feel bad.
mm.
That doesn't
So
mean the education didn't
the
go
drug
down.
abuse can be a component or a
Drug
triggering
abuse
factor to
is,
these
is,
issues
is
we're
a
looking at reproductive
component. It's a
health.
component.
Okay.
So
Okay.
we are out not only to advocate for drug abuse, but also to draw all the people's attention to include it as we go,
Okay.
so that we don't have to come back later.
Okay.
So the key objective is to create, bring people's mind back to the issues of drug and how it affects the other components of development, and
Mm.
also amplify young people's voices
Okay.
towards ending drug. We want the young people themselves to be at the forefront of
Of the
making the
campaign and all
change,
of that.
and
Yeah.
also ensuring or influencing youth-led actions. We also want to see other young people, young, small children, thinking about initiatives, thinking about solutions to some of the
Before we
drug
get into
problems.
the initiatives, let me come to Mustafa and let's go straight to looking at the drug abuse component. What is the drug abuse component all about?
All right, Martha, it's good to meet you for the first time.
Thank you.
Um, Let me go straight to the point. Drugs are substances
Mm.
uh, that are prescribed or not prescribed. People take for uh, intended, they have some intended expectations from
Ailments,
those
yeah.
substances.
Okay.
So basically, that is drugs.
Hard drugs.
Not necessarily.
Okay.
I have mentioned prescribed drugs.
Okay.
So drugs like those that are intended to cure
Like malaria.
malaria, the
Yeah.
infectious diseases, and all that we find in our communities. They are drugs. They cannot be isolated from the discussions of drugs. But what happens is that if they are, let's take it from the health setting, the health perspective. If they are prescribed and you take them outside the prescriptions, you are abusing the drug. If you take it outside the prescription, you are supposed to take the drug for 3 times in a day, or let me start from once a day, once daily, for 5 days, and you take 3 times a day, or even you take it more than the number of days recommended, you are abusing the drug. So this when this discussion is settled, we
Yeah.
can now talk about addiction.
Okay,
And
so if I get it, the drugs in general are the substance that we take. So let's say they say take para for morning, afternoon, evening. You take it 2 or 1, or even you take about 4 times.
you are abusing the
You
drug.
are abusing the drugs. Okay, but today, like we said, we want to a bit focus on the other kinds of drugs
Okay.
that people take that enhances them to do the wrong thing. So, like she's saying, rape. Sometimes people take hard drugs and they're a bit controlled by what they take,
Okay.
and that makes them to go and do the things that you are saying that our focus have now been driven on.
Okay.
So with those kind of drugs, why do you think are some of the triggers that young people are focused on?
Okay. So what happens is, for specifically on the hard drugs, what happens is that most of those drugs, their target is the brain.
Mm.
So they provide some rewarding mechanism. They provide some kind of rewarding mechanism that an individual can easily fall for.
Okay.
So if sometimes it happens like they take it for a good reason. These drugs can be, we have mentioned tramadol. Tramadol can be prescribed in the hospital setting for good reasons, to cure pain or to manage pain that is
In a high level.
at a high level. So when this is done, in the first place, it is for a good
Yeah.
reason, but the rewards that it provides, the transient feeling of good, away from the reality, people want to always
Take
have,
it more than
sure,
it's
they
supposed
want
be
to
taken.
experience this for however long.
So in your field of
Sure.
work, what are some of the easiest reasons? Because we are speaking to young people directly,
Okay.
and let's go to the basics. I want us to really go to the basics of this
Okay.
conversation.
So
What are some of the reasons that they take this, and how can it affect them? So we are telling them that you might have this reason. So let's say you are feeling bored, or your friend gives you a drink that take it in, and you put it in there, you take it. That can be a reason. At the end of the day, what is the bad effect that would have on the young person? Because they need to understand that can
Yeah.
prevent them from taking that.
yeah. So Martha, generally toxicologists will say everything is poison, depending on the quantity with which you take it.
Yeah.
I'm sure a lot of people, especially young people, are wondering, say a lot of people think tramadol is a hard drug. It's not. Just like you mentioned, it's a normal medicinal drug, but depending on how you take it, it can even become more dangerous than some of those hard drugs you mentioned.
Okay.
So that's the difference between that and the hard. The other ones, totally at the beginning, it is dangerous because of the quantity of what chemicals that are kept
In it,
in there.
yeah.
But tramadol being managed, like the production being guided by some reasons for it to target some medicinal purposes. So it's not a hard drug. But the other ones at the beginning, everybody you know that
So
when you
let's
just
say
take it,
cocaine at the
Sure.
beginning is very
it's
dangerous.
originally a dangerous
Yeah.
drug. But the other ones, based on the quantity you take, it can become more dangerous. But next, what is one of the things that triggers young people to take? Martha, I think I've said this somewhere before. Today we're talking about especially the region. Poverty, I don't want to say poverty, but should I say parents, lack of good parenting? Let me tell you that one of the key reasons young people abuse drugs is because there's a lot in the mind. Somebody will say, "Why would you watch pornographic movies? When you are free, you have a lot of things, important things to do. You're out there. You do it when you're in the room thinking so much. Yeah, there are lots of things you're figuring out, feeling bored. Like when you have something essential doing outside, you don't actually get yourself thinking about all those negative things. So what I just want to say is that here the unemployment level is very high, causing so much pressure on our young people. Aside that, our parents cry of a lot of poverty, and so parents tend to leave their children to themselves. You know, so you see a young boy who is around 14 years have to enter town, fend for himself. So the most prevalent transport we have here is what yellow yellow. They tend to follow somebody before they can get money.
Yeah.
So in a day, if you're coming out not knowing even what exactly you are going to do in the market, that alone is something you're going to be worrying about. And when you enter, you're getting somebody to follow. You're not sure how much you earn from it. Are you sure that would take care of your food? And then there's an old man home and an old lady
Your
home
parents are home expecting you
expecting
to
that
bring
you
something.
come home with something, and that is a child less than 15 years. So all these things, honestly, it's not something that pleases him because he sees his colleagues, and this is how you see somebody going to school, the father is driving them. Why? All those whys can cause somebody to take.
So we have established that is the parental monitoring that is very low.
Parental mind, that's one.
And also because a lot of them tend to think. I'm just going to ask a bit more. Think about, is this, are they thinking about school? Are they thinking about what, or emotional stress?
So
What
that
would
was
make
that
a
was
40 year old?
that was just an aspect of the thinking I told you. So that had to do with how to fend for himself and employment issues as such. Another one they can think about is emotion, like you just mentioned. Young people, we can avoid the fact that, especially teenagers, that's a point where your level of thinking, especially with relationships, like
Yeah.
you have so much sexual feeling, you want to be with the opposite sex. Yeah, they fall in love, and at that point, they don't really know what it means to fall in love. When they don't get the same feeling back, it affects them. Or sometimes, like who you fall in love with, it's not the dramas that comes with it. Even as a grown up,
Relationship
it's
stress.
it's very difficult to manage, talk less of a young boy. So that one too comes in. And then, yeah, a lot of pressures from school too. You don't actually know what will be disturbing someone. There are a lot of factors around that can actually be a very disturbing issue. Academics, yeah, academics. That why do people kill themselves? So the person decides to kill, somebody will decide to take drug, so that for the short while the drug takes him far away from those issues. So they take it to temporarily forget about the war, what's happened, to forget their problem. So they just feel, oh my god, it's sad matter.
Mustafa, what are some of the preventive measures that we can talk to young people watching us right now about what they can do to prevent taking drugs, no matter how the pressure comes to them?
I think the number one approach is a supportive society. If we learn to look out for one another, it can really be of help. We can't isolate the causes of drug abuse from its management or how we are able to prevent it in our societies. Because Rahma has mentioned the poor parental guidance, and we have this their obsession to do more. You know, people are obsessed to do more, to work hard. People are obsessed to be rich. Those stuff. So if we are able to have a supportive society where we can isolate the government from this kind of support. So if the government cares for young people as a priority and policy making, so that we don't have so many of our youth being idle.
So
Yeah.
youth unemployment
Sure.
issues young people go through are some of the things that causes
That
that.
causes
And we are
that.
saying that if these ventures can be put in place for them, so now we have free senior high school that alone can help young people to go to school more. Then the parents can also become more attentive to their children.
That's very true. And even in our homes, and that is where the parenting comes in. If parents look out for their words, I always say this when I have this opportunity. Our communication mechanisms, that is from the five sense organs, people and the body language. If we look out for each other by all that's combined, you know, people talk, some people wouldn't talk, they isolate themselves. Some people would be doing, some people will resort to taking alcohol.
Okay.
So you see all this, if you identify this, you have to reach out to the person. Try, don't start blaming the person. And that's where we get it very wrong.
Okay. Before we
The
go
blame
deep
game.
down to the blame game, let's go for a break. We'll be right back.
Books by Pastor A.L. Fant. They are inspired by the Holy Spirit, simple to comprehend, relevant in application, and so lovely to read. Grab copies like Dynamics of Kingdom Influence, Dynamics of Ministry, Mark is King for Church Workers, Money Matters, and she calls herself a woman. This marriage must work. No more curses. Loaded mouth. Secrets of kingdom dominion. The exploits of service. Things fall apart. Church without bleeding pulpit. Singles mingle and many more.
Welcome back from the break. I believe that we are all getting an insight on the fact that drugs abuse has a very big role to play in our society. Sometimes we don't really pay attention to. When you go to the ghettos, I think I saw a video of a young girl who was smoking and they were interviewing her, and she spoke very good English. Like you could see that it's an intelligent, smart girl, but the way she was answering the questions from the one who was asking her. But she's there, she's on drugs, she's after that she go and have sex and she's full and all of that. And it's not helping. So we need to help our young people to make sure that they are staying safe. My hair and makeup is by Angel's Beauty Salon here in Tamale. Their contact details is on the screen. I'll be introducing something new to you from Nat's products here in Tamale as well. Their new brand that is coming into the shower gel market and with some shea butter and all of that. But before that, let's continue from there. You think that I think some of us have even seen that you see a young girl who or boy who is quiet, and even before they talk, you just begin to assume, you begin to judge them, you begin to insult them. How can parents, guardians, and all of us stop this blame game thing? Because it has a way of putting so much on their emotions.
So I was just getting into that before we went out for the break. So what happens is that in our compounds, you know, or the groups we have, you know, if you go inside Tamale Township, it's common, especially in the evening, that you find adults sit together to have some fun. They take attire. Some people drink pucha, they call it pucha, and some other things. That's where most of the time these things start
Start.
from. But once these things will start from there, some also, in fact, let me start from the compounds. When a member of a family in a compound is found going this way, it is very common that this kind of blaming, in fact, at the center of the household, they would it will be some kind of attack. Oh, what kind of the shama, like, why are you doing this? Like, so they throw insults, they rain insults on this victim of drugs, associating them. They already associate them with stealing, and yes, it is true. But when you blame anybody, even if they are innocent, if you blame someone, even if they are
No, I
innocent,
think I think that if we are saying that they shouldn't be blamed, I think it's something that's not practical.
what I'm saying is, I'm
So
not
it's the way it should come in.
Sure.
It's the way it should
Sure.
be handled.
Sure.
So of course they can blame you for going
Sure.
to take drugs, but I think that we should have a more professional. So
Sure.
let's look at from the medical perspective. Let's look from the professional perspective. How do parents handle their children who they have suspicion like they suspect are on drugs or attempting to take drugs? Because no parent will be happy that the first time I come and meet my child in cigarettes, the unconscious trigger in me will want to shout on the person.
Okay.
But what happens before that? What should the parent do is what I want us to look at.
So what should be done in the household is that instead of raising a platform in your house to blame this innocent individual who for some reasons, sometimes it is not by their
Yes.
their
Yes. So
wishes.
what should be done?
So what you should do is to hire the professionalism of someone, of an expert, and that is we have medical doctors in our societies. We have health personnel, not necessarily a medical doctor, because that can be the beginning of a solution, the finding of a solution. So if they visit a health facility, even if the medical professional they are reaching out to is not trained in right, like you mentioned clinical psychologist earlier. If the person is not a clinical psychologist, but they can help you, they can be a mediator for you to find one, and that's where you can easily
Okay,
find.
I get that. But
But
in the
Martha,
basic
yeah,
community
I
of
think
where we
that's-
come from, yes, I want
Okay.
you to add that to whatever you want to say. Where do we come from? I live in a compound house with a lot of. My father has 2, 3 wives, 4 wives. Even how to pay the fees is not okay. I just want a parent or a guardian watching. When you come in and see that your child is by the firewood is trying to light something and you want to attempt to counsel, what are the major
Martha,
steps?
I
to
think
start?
earlier we spoke, while we spoke, we mentioned that one of the reasons I can get somebody into drugs is when they don't get enough love, or they
Yes.
get some negligence from the home. So in this situation, I think that's the best, because it may be due to your negligence that the person is taking. You don't know why the person is taking. I feel it's best when we rather love them more and we accept them. We still accept them. Seeing your child take drug doesn't mean that is the point where there should be a separation between how you were to that child. I think that is rather the point we should show
Yeah.
them more love and then bring them more closer. And the more you bring them closer and open up, you can actually find out the reason behind why the child is doing what they're doing. Because in the first place, maybe you need your child to be someone who is not into drugs, But before you can be able to find remorsals, whether to determine whether to take the person to a doctor, to a psychiatric hospital, or to even find a rehabilitation center to take the person to, you have to know what the problem is. Sometimes you may engage the person and then find out that the problem has nothing to do with the medical doctor. You can actually solve it from home. Maybe it's just something minor happened and then it influenced the person to do, or immediate peer pressure thing. Somebody was holding it, and then he didn't even know what he was doing. Then that's when you get the chance to educate the child, to let the child know. And it matter, I think that the key thing here is just like reproductive health. We've been having that battle, that war for a very long time. With just like that too, we have to, I mean, develop that attitude of speaking to our children about the issue of drugs, letting them know how wrong it is, and letting them know that it is not something that they can take. So it has to do with that. So I think that when it comes to that aspect, parents should get more closer to their children, accept them for who they are, and try to know exactly what the problem is.
Now, as a nurse,
Okay.
are there some treatment guidelines that you give to people who are addicted to drugs that they can find? Okay,
Martha,
Rama,
before
can-
that, I think earlier you asked him something in relation to, what the children, the young people can
themselves.
do.
Yes, yes, yes.
You're talking about the region, and you observe that one of the key things, one of the key ones they abuse here. A research has shown marijuana, young people take it a lot here. Weed, they take it a lot.
Marijuana, weed. I'm
and then
using tramadol.
Tramadol, and now there's a new drug they call Rapinol.
Rapinol.
Rapinol. Young people take it a lot. So, why do one get access to a drug like Tramadol or Rapinol without prescription? Like I said, these are all drugs, medicinal drugs. But a drug like Tramadol is supposed to be prescribed. Every drug is supposed to be prescribed, but you can actually get some. You can buy paracetamol because it's a painkiller. But Tramadol, Rapinol is not allowed for you to just access it like that.
But they
because
sell them in the pharmacies and in the drugstores.
you go with a prescription, and you're sold. It is sold to you. That is how it's supposed to be. But they sell it like anything. But so what I'm trying to
So
say
who are
is
to
that
blame? The young people themselves or those who sell them?
that's where I'm getting to. You see, it's not supposed to be given that way, but it's given that way. One, why would a drug sell? If there's somebody selling drugs, want to sell something like that, someone wants money. The person wants money, and then you see that the industry itself, even though there are policies, guarding all these things, we still have people who are infiltrating and making it very difficult, especially for people who understand the whole concept and not selfish like those who will sell, even though they know the effects of it. You have people who start drugstores without being pharmacists. You're supposed to be a pharmacy with a license before you can open a pharmacy shop, but everybody opens, And we also have the situation where, people who sell drugs, because they are attacked by policemen. I've personally seen police invade a pharmacy shop to arrest the person for selling tramadol to yellow drivers. But when they know this, they change the location. Must have taken a yellow, and the guy went to stop at a canna. A canna you cannot even enter, even during the day, because of the smell, how the place looks. But somebody enters because he wants to access a drug. And I tell you, it was the pharmacy just by far, 100 meters from the canna, that has taken those drugs there. So the police don't attack you. Are we serious as a country? Do we care about the well-being of our young people? Do we care about the future of the country? Because Martha, the more we give these children the drugs, you mentioned a very intelligent young girl, she opened his mouth, you can't even speak the English she's speaking. But she's on drugs, she's useless. Unless, of course, she has gone through the needed treatment, the needed therapy to bring her back to normal. Then she goes through education. Through this campaign, we've actually engaged another guy like that. He wants to be a journalist, very brilliant. When he opens his mouth, great visions. But you lie to yourself. We enter the class, they're walking like this. How can you study? So I think that the issue is big. But what I want to say is that people want money. Money is the other. People think when you have money, you have everything. It's important. We need to devise, legitimate ways to make our monies. That's something I'm saying, but it's his choice to accept or not. But the very important one has to do with me, because I'm the one buying. So today, I want every young person listening to me who still buys Tramadol. You're buying it because somebody's making it available. If they were going by the right procedures, you wouldn't access it to buy. And if you don't access it, you'll be forced to withdraw. So but they refuse and they saw. What you need to do for yourself, for me, for Martha, for the future, for my maybe you may be a class teacher to my you may treat me one day, even though I'm also a doctor. But in some aspects, you may be somebody who will take care of me one day. Please, let's know that these people are selfish.
Yeah.
And stand up for ourselves. Martha, tomorrow, when you become an armed robber because you didn't go through school, when you become somebody who is useless in the society, does not have any meaningful contribution to the society. Remember, the one selling the drug to the child, hey, they may attack you. It may be someone you sold tramadol to today.
That is now coming to
It may
attack
be
you.
someone you sold tramadol to. That's what I'm saying. Like I know, like I'm saying, they may not hear. They are here, but but the key thing has to do with the child. Remember, they are being selfish.
Do you think that
Look out for
the legal
yourself.
and security systems are doing enough to arrest people who are into this field?
Matter, I like I said, I've seen policemen attack, invade a shop just to arrest someone.
But they actually have different
They have different
strategies to get into
strategies.
them.
They
I
have
can even
different
go and say, "Oh,
strategies.
please, I want para." So you know me, I want para.
Matter, we
You
have
remove the
people.
para and remove the tramadol and put it on.
I
top.
could be here with the drug in my pocket. They know people who stole it. Matter, like you don't have to go to a drugstore any longer. People have it in their rooms. People have it in their bags, moving around. So it's just like gay and lesbian. They know each other. So when I see you, I know you're a dealer in Tramadol or Raffinol. I easily get it. So I'm sure even the yellow drivers who are like, there are people within them who also like drive and takes it, but they have access to it from another dealer. Matter, it's not about today. I think that's what we all have to remember. It's not about today. Oh. Let's remember the future. Their children are going through schools. They'll become, they'll come back and sell drugs to your children. Your grandchildren will buy from their children's children. You want your family to go that way? Hey, money is good. Everybody wants to look good. And then you can only get it when you when you keep yourself in good shape. Go through the right education, or look for a job like some trade. I don't like talking about this one because I get very, very emotional. And the sad thing is that the people who sell, as we are talking, they have messages that they have also packaged, rebuttals, to better explain what we are talking about. You think somebody who sells can talk a lot, and they can convince you to buy. So they also have, counter messages to what we are
So
saying.
every brand or every product you sell, you have a way of going about it.
But what I want to say is that I don't sell drugs. So it's better that we listen to, because you listen to somebody who doesn't need money from selling drugs. So that's the only person who will tell you the truth. And the few ones, I know it's very challenging for them. People who are in, they don't like the idea, but the market is forcing them. Just like you don't like the idea, but you have to do it because you are in it. Or there are some, situations, systems making it very, very difficult for you to be right. We know them, and then I'm very sure if everybody comes on board, we can be able to help them out. Not me, generally, the society can help them out, and together with them, we can help the other people who are called selfish. Because that's selfishness, to get back to normal, and then think that the future of the country, because the future of the country is the young people. It's much more better than the monies that they'll make and enjoy today.
Okay. Mustafa, now, I don't know whether this would be biased to say that there are a lot of more males who take drugs than
That's what the
females.
statistics says.
Yes. Why is that? Do men or boys have a lot of, what is making boys take more drugs than girls?
Martha, I don't think you should be asking this question. I'm sure you know more.
Oh, I
Okay.
just sit. I'm the host, so I'm not. I don't know anything. That's why you guys are here.
I don't think you don't know anything.
I don't know anything.
The truth is that in our part of the world, especially in Tamari and the northern communities, the pressure is on the guys. The pressure is on boys at a very early age. In some homes, parents tend to be looking out for. They tend to be looking up to
The guys
The
to
guys
provide
to
or
provide
do
for.
something.
the families. And on the part of the boys too, they want to have a girlfriend,
So your parents are looking up to your girlfriend is
Your
looking
girlfriend
up
is
to
and your girlfriend is looking up.
Hey,
So you see, quick Nancy.
everybody is looking up to you,
Sure.
and you are always the giver.
So that's
So the
it.
pressures of life.
So there's so much pressure on boys. In fact, from considering where we are coming from, and some of them. So you see, the causes of drug abuse. Some of them, in order to escape that pressure, the reality that is so characterized by pressure, they tend to resort to some of these drugs to be able to cope. And some of them, in order to work so hard, in order to work beyond their capacity, they also fall on these drugs. So you see most of these yellow drivers, they do it because they want to stay in the market. They don't want to feel sleepy. They don't want to rest. And some people will also take this to be
Let's
violent.
change example. We are using yellow drivers too much. Let's add another example.
It is common in the markets.
Of course.
That's where
And even students, we see a lot of students taking tramadol because they want to study.
they want to study
And pass.
beyond.
I can't remember if I've ever done that thing like TDP till daybreak. I don't remember.
I've done it, but I
from
never
school.
used drugs to.
You
I
put your
was
legs in
never-
water.
No,
And you take
I
coffee.
just sat when I'm feeling sleepy. I will sleep. In fact, in the classroom, I preferred in school. I preferred sleeping in the classroom more than in my
Hey,
dormitory.
then you for those who
But I
had
never
the first
used
class.
drugs.
No?
No,
And that's where the addiction starts. You know?
Yeah.
not necessarily.
We have
It's
this
just
caffeine
prioritized.
drinks that they also take. You keep taking, saying you're taking it so you can stay up and learn further. The more you take, the more you get used to take it. Then I think that's where the addiction comes. So sometimes not peer pressure, not pressure. So not pressure from home, but some of these things you want to take it so you can be able to learn. But when you get involved, it becomes very difficult to stop. And it has so many effects, especially for we the young girls.
Young girls cry. I remember some people say they take tramadol for menstrual cramps. But yes, people take tramadol for menstrual cramps. Because the pain is so severe.
Oh.
You know, one time I was almost tempted to do so because the pain was so severe for me. But I think that the person was trying to peer pressure me there, didn't get access to, because I have never seen tramadol. But because of advocacy, we talk about it. So I don't even know how tramadol looks like. So, but they were telling me that they have different grams. So you
Yes.
could take in a smaller gram, and that one is prescribed. But people abuse it because you
So,
take one,
let me
the
come
pain is not going, you die, you take everything.
So let me come in.
Mm.
You know how drugs are prescribed? First, they mention the prescriber will mention the dosage. They
Okay.
mention the route of administration,
Mm.
and they mention how many times it is supposed to be taken and the number of days. So when this is done for you, in your situation, like you want to escape the pain of
Yeah.
menstrual cramps.
Yeah.
So maybe Buscopan usually is prescribed for that. But when that is done, we have this we call drug tolerance. At some point,
It doesn't work
it
when you
wouldn't work. So there is the prescriber might prescribe just what is normal for you, what is good for you. But because you know that might not work so good for you,
You want to add a
you add
dosage.
the dosage.
That's a very big problem.
That's
Like you mentioned,
that's-
routes of administration, something that is supposed to be taken orally, applying on the skin, all causes, compounds to cause an antimicrobial resistance.
Okay.
And that is very key now, common now. Some of the antimicrobial drugs that we know, antibiotics, do not actually work for the intended purposes any longer because we have abused them for a very long time. So aside the other effects we're talking about, it has a huge threat on public health, and that's a very, very big issue. It can be a different thing for another discussion.
A very big issue. She was trying to mention some words. You were like, please, yeah, I'm not in the medical field. So it's interesting. Let's go for a break. We'll be right back.
Yele, yele, yela, yele. Praise the Lord, oh. Whoa. Yeah, yeah. Are you ready? Okay.
Like a rainbow, so my life made colorful. If you don't know, a life with this man is beautiful. Sing to the glory
Oh,
of
yeah, sing to
God.
the glory of God.
Sing to the glory
Oh,
of
yeah, sing to
God.
the glory of God.
It's He I know. Everywhere I go, it's He I see. Anything I do, it's He I go. Seeking first all things you shall get.
separate, we are still looking at youth against drug abuse. It's very important that we understand that we do not abuse drugs. If you are tired, you are going through some sort of issues or pain in your life, there are a lot of forms that you can go through. You can seek for a counselor, a psychologist. The next episode we'll be looking at. I'll be talking to a psychologist who'll be delving also into this field, how they are assessing. And I was asking him behind the scenes, I'll be asking him why are they sometimes expensive, because they need to make these available, these services almost free or just a token so that young people can have access to their professional services. Now, we have just a few minutes to go. In our full submissions, what are the most important things that young people need to know, understand about this whole issue, drug abuse and all of that? Yeah. Let me start from you.
Okay. So, it's very difficult to handle someone who is suffering and they don't accept that they are even suffering. It's very difficult to handle people like that. So that is the situation we have in Tamale. Young people haven't gotten to that level that they have accepted that drugs are not good, especially with the concurrence of the issues I mentioned earlier. That is the pressure, because that is not getting. It is not reducing. It is rather increasing. Because today we have high inflation, lots of issues pertaining to the economy. So it is very natural that people would want to do these things to overwork or to escape the reality. So how do we get these people to accept that the drugs are not just, in fact, they are not just giving them, they are not helping them. Because what is happening is that you take in the drug, you escape the transient life. It is just some brief moment that you are able to be away from the normal, but you come back. So it's just like some to and fro movement, and by the time you see, you are going to be poor, your children will be poor, your children's children will be poor. That is it. So they call it vicious cycle of poverty. And that's why we have been struggling with poverty at this part of the world for this long, and it's not getting better, because it is very common that we keep doing things that is not a solution.
Okay.
But they are not solutions to our problem, but they are rather compounding our problem. So I think the first thing is that we should improve on sensitization.
Okay.
That's why this YARD project is on course. Through this, we want to engage the media like we are doing now. We want to have open forum discussions with young people in the communities, and we want to utilize stakeholder engagements to see how we can see collectively drugs. In fact, drugs that are abused, that are easily abused, as the enemy, and people who sell them out. People who sell them out illegitimately. So this is where the conversation starts from. YARD is doing well, and we are hoping that we will have support from partners, because we have the sustainable development goals that we are all battling with. In fact, globally, goal 3, quality, good health, goal 4, quality education, goal 5, gender equality, and if we go down there, goal 15, peace and security. You see, this particular goals, they are very key, and they form a very chunk of the work. If we don't have good health, there's no meaning to life. If there's no education, we can't make progress. If there's no gender equality, the minority, the vulnerable in our communities will suffer. But all this are so much as peace and security. If we don't have a secured society, a lot of us
are going to affect young people. I saw a very funny picture, or is it videos?
Okay.
Is this Sri Lanka or something? A country that invaded let me this says Flagstaff House.
Okay.
Their presidential house, and I don't know what happened. They started swimming in the pool. They went and slept on the president's bed, and they are misbehaving. And I think that if they are on drugs, some of them wouldn't even care. They want to, what will make you want to go to, let's say, the president's residence, to go and invade the place and sack all of, imagine somebody
So
goes
that
to
is
the
it.
president's house
It gives
and
them
sack
wrong judgment.
the president and all of that. So I think that so many things are missing because we are focusing on just one or two parts that is causing all of these things. Rahma, just give us what you think of that.
Yeah, I think we have spoken so much. You just mentioned something very important. I've also equally seen a video. I think that's from Nigeria, a part of there, where people are abusing just a cough syrup. It is causing a lot of them to become mentally. Here we get in there. We are not there. That's why we don't want to get. That's why we are doing
Yeah.
all this talking. Yeah, where people have to be changed like animals. Kept somewhere. Like it's a very bad thing. What I want to say is that, hey, people suffer.
Yeah.
Everybody, you see somebody wearing nice clothes today, being on television, being your minister, find out how they got to where they are. We spoke about suffering from home. People have actually gone through so much more than what you're going through, but it is always for. As you can see. It is always for a very good reason. The reason, we are going through what we're going through because of the tomorrow we want to get to. But what I want to say is that it is possible to get there, but if you go the wrong way, if you use a wrong way to get in there, people will get there without you. There are lots of challenges. Young people are already facing so much challenges. Being a Ghanaian, you have one, like there's one disadvantage you have. Every Ghanaian, there's some disadvantage. Being a boy, there is another disadvantage. Being a woman, there is another. Being a young person comes with double disadvantages. We've gone through a lot. We've suffered. You've gone to school, sat on the floor. Some of you have sat on the floor to learn. You have gone
With
to
a lot
school
of life
without
issues.
textbooks. We have been through it. Why do you make all this long goal in vain by
To
just
still
taking
come
a
back and
path?
suffer.
To still come back and suffer. Let's ensure that our suffering is not in vain by putting ourselves into more suffering. We are fighting. Why are we all advocating for this? Why are we talking about improving quality education? We are doing that for a better tomorrow, and I'm sure we're going to achieve it. You can't be part of the beginning of something, and at the end, you cannot stand for it. Let's win, and if you are winning, let us win together. That's why I'm saying that tomorrow is for young people, and we have to preserve it for them. But one thing also is that, we are doing all we're doing because of something. In the first place, you take drug because there's a reason. There's always a triggering factor. When it has to do with unemployment, yeah, you want a job. When it has to do with the fact that you want a girlfriend who wants luxurious things, or you want to satisfy your. There's a time where you can have sex. Let's ask the married people. They're tired of it. There's a point you get it all. Like if you start taking drugs to give you that pleasure now,
It gets to a point that
you
some people are laughing behind it.
It can no longer do the work. It can no longer do the work.
Yeah.
At a point where you are free to fully enjoy it, you have the woman.
It's
very
like when we're in
beautiful.
senior high school,
You
we
cannot-
wanted to braid our hair. So you want to hide and braid and they will cut. Now, those who were struggling and being punished because their hair were grown,
You can't
now
do
they are
it
doing
the same.
natural. They've cut down their hair. Now,
So,
now
what
you
I
are
just want-
free to
what
do
I
that.
just want young people to understand is that joy is coming.
Yeah.
Joy is coming.
So relax.
Relax,
Relax.
relax,
It will come,
and,
yeah.
and then preserve yourself. Keep yourself. Forget about the selfish people. If somebody doesn't see the good for you in the future, you are seeing it. You are seeing your own vision. Hey, move like a gorilla, but in a positive way. Don't take, because when you take that, it brings you back, and then tomorrow we're
Okay.
enjoying. I don't want to be enjoying without you. We want
Exactly.
to be together with you.
In few seconds,
So
just
stay
give us
away
your
from
final
that.
words and I'll come back to Rahma and wrap up.
Okay, in my final words, I would just say that together we should work on the support systems in our societies. In fact, at the home level, we should have some ways. We should have a good approach to support, providing support for members of the family. At school, we should have something like that. At the workplace, we should have that kind of support for each other, looking out for each other. In fact, check on each other. And at the policy level, we should have we should prioritize the priorities. In fact, uh, drugs drugs have so many consequences where they are not used the right way. So policies should be done to check illegal
Yeah,
usages
some
of
of
drugs.
these things, and we can. Rahma, your final words.
Martha, thank you so much. There's something I didn't say here. I have said since we started this.
Okay.
Just in a minute.
Okay.
We have musicians. We cannot talk about the influential people in the region without mentioning them. The children love them so much. I personally love some of the Gopa, artists that I follow so much. When you're an influential person, people follow your life. They like your music, so they like your life too. Whatever you do, they try to emulate.
So the celebrities
The young
should
people
live
are
good
ignorant.
lives.
They don't know what is happening. So immediately you do, they grab. They seem to be the best. I'm very happy. Yesterday, I speak about it, but yesterday I just saw clearly one of the musicians here, like very popular one, took a picture with his friends. Shisha, the one they take.
Okay.
And then the place was just full of smoke. They're posting it on social media. I always say that we don't have a bad side, but those bad sides that we have, we know it's not good. And let me tell you, nobody will be taking drag and being so confident, being so
That
satisfied
person
that
was
it's the
so
best for
confident
them.
about it.
No, definitely you're not. So don't since you know the bad aspects of it, that is making you not comfortable. Be sure not to put it out.
Okay.
So it's because it's going to affect millions of people. Live your life, but please, for the sake of the younger ones following, be very careful what you put out
Yeah,
there. But
very.
I just want to say that the Yard project, Youth Against Drug, we need a lot of support. Like I said, it's a sacrifice because I believe that somebody always has to start something. If nobody wants to take the step, then the rest will not follow. So we have decided to take the step by championing an advocacy on ending drug abuse in the region because we believe that it's going to contribute so much to ending the other problems that we are facing. So we want to get everyone on board. People should come on board and support. We have a lot of activities we have started. We have launched a project. We have engaged schools, junior high schools, senior high schools. And currently embarking on a contest among young people. That's why I want to see young people's ideas towards ending the whole idea of drug abuse. They're going to implement them, and then we're going to have a pitch on radio, and we're going to get our winners. A lot more activities coming. And in November, we're going to have a forum. This year, we're going to be focused entirely on the issue of drug abuse. We want people to come on board. Any aspects of this, we can celebrate. You can reach us on our social media platforms and Active Youth Global, so we can connect more and see how best we can work together. Thank you so much for the opportunity.
Thank you for coming. We just have to make sure that every young person out there understand that just take the drugs that are prescribed for you. There is no need try to abuse them or take the drugs that even not just to your own health. You can be arrested, and if you are arrested, you will spend almost all your life in jail, and that might not be good for you, your family, and the society at all. Who knows? You could be the next president or minister to help solve some of these issues that we are facing now. I have been speaking with two young people from Active Youth Global, Rahama Isa and Abdul Aziz Mustafa, who have delved into this discussion. And it's not just ending here, they are carrying the baton and they are going to talk about this more and more. My hair and makeup is by Endem's Beauty Salon. And then the Nuts organization is out with the Sopam product. And then they have a shampoo brand. And they also have a African liquid black soap, and they also have the so the African liquid black soap, this is the mango and vanilla flavor, and they have a lot of flavors. This is the lemongrass and the tea tree flavor. And of course, wherever you are and you want good shea butter from the north, you can get in touch with them. I'll just quickly put out their phone numbers for you. 054 629 2087. 054 629 2087. So just get in touch with them. Sopam Limited on social media. platforms, and you get in touch with them for these amazing flavors for your skin, for your hair, and the shea butter as well. You can put it in your food. If you read those from Upper East, you put it inside your breast soup, and it's so nice. My name is Martha, and Nabila is an amazing bringing in the reflection show with amazing content and information. Do have a good night.